Obviously, any vehicle can be modified to be off-road ready, but straight off the lot, we've given this brand new Sequoia a 3.5 out of 10. Let's find out why. We are going to cover 9 different categories that can be applied to any vehicle to evaluate how off-road ready the Sequoia is. All right, so the first point we want to discuss is pricing. This particular vehicle is a limited with the TRD off-road package. It comes in sticker price at about $70,000. We of course would want to compare this to the TRD Pro model, which is going to be 76 to 80-ish depending on options. As we compare the capability of this vehicle, I'm going to want to save that $6,000 to $10,000 and put it into upgrades on this thing to make it even more capable from an off-road perspective. But that's just me. I want to make this thing much more capable. So I would say from a price perspective, I'm going to take a point away because it's a little on the pricey side. All right, so next let's talk about the motor and the transmission. Here, I think Toyota did an excellent job. This iForce Max hybrid motor has tons of power. It really, you know, when you think about it as compared to the midsize vehicles, you get all the power plus fairly reasonable fuel economy, whereas the midsize are kind of crappy when it comes to that. So I think that's a huge benefit. 437 horsepower, lots of low end torque because of the electric motors. To me, it's a huge win. It's a point in my book when it comes to the motor. So we talk about the transmission. It's a 10-speed automatic transmission. Again, I think that's a huge benefit. You got plenty of gears to work through. It's very smooth, and it's got all the low range tech when it comes to 4-wheel drive high, low, and all that from an off-road perspective. So I'm feeling pretty good about the motor and drivetrain on this thing. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is ground clearance and approach angle. That is a huge category when it comes to an off-road capable vehicle. Unfortunately, the Sequoia has a lot of disadvantages when it comes to this. If you just take a look at this front end.
Would you just look at it? Yeah, it's sad.
This front spoiler down here, if I measure that, you know, we're 8.5 inches is all as far as ground clearance here on this gravel road. Not to mention the approach angle is horrible. The departure angle on the back is reasonable for what it is, but it's still a big vehicle. So even the breakover angle is gonna be pretty bad on this. We're gonna ding this vehicle pretty hard when it comes to ground clearance and approach angle for those reasons. There obviously are some ways to get around it though. A lift, bigger wheels and tires, you know, can make this vehicle much more capable in that area. All right, so let's talk protection. This vehicle comes equipped with some factory skid plates. They're basically worthless. You can get a really decent skid plate with the TRD Pro model. This vehicle, of course, doesn't have it. As far as bumpers go, we're just talking plastic bumpers. They're gonna dent, they're gonna rip, they're gonna come off. It's not gonna be good from a protection standpoint. So we look down the side of the vehicle, we just have side steps. We don't have any rock sliders, and we don't have any major protection on the rear end of the vehicle. So there is a lot left to be desired when it comes to protection on this vehicle, and it needs it from an off-road perspective. So I'm gonna ding it a point or two for sure on the protection side of things. The next two categories are tires and suspension. As far as tires go, there's nothing special on this vehicle. They are a little bigger than the mid-size trucks, but I don't think there's gonna be any major off-road benefit. The one benefit, however, is compared to some of these mid-size trucks that we have, is the wheel well itself. This wheel well is bigger, meaning you can get a bigger tire combination in here without as much lift. A 33-inch tire would fit perfect in here, a 35 with a very small lift, and probably a 37 with a 3-inch lift or so. So I'm gonna say we're gonna give it a point because of the tire situation and how easy it is to fit a bigger tire. As far as suspension goes, to me it's kind of a moot point. I mean, this truck has some Bilstein shocks on it that are reasonable. You can of course get the Fox shocks on the TRD Pro. I think there's better aftermarket options out there, and so from an off-road perspective, I think again you save the money and you put in a really good aftermarket kit. So I'm gonna say there's no point lost or no point gained when it comes to the suspension. All right, so this vehicle does come equipped with a factory rear locker, so that's another point to the positive. All right, so let's talk storage. The Sequoia has a ton of storage. It's got a 3rd row seat here, so if you have a family and kids that you want to take, you've got the room. The other thing is if you don't have people that you want to put back here, then you can fold the seats down like we just did to give you added storage, or you can just take them out and you have all this space back here that's inside the vehicle out of the weather. The other thing that's cool is the vehicle comes equipped with roof rails, so you can get crossbars or roof racks to put up top to carry your rooftop tent or whatever gear you want to go with. So to me, there's a huge benefit with the Sequoia, it being a full-size vehicle and having lots of internal storage space. All right, we're inside the vehicle now and I want to tell you about the features. I'm sitting in the cockpit and we have a beautiful digital dash that's very simple and clean. The buttons here on the steering wheel give me all the information I need right at my fingertips. The Softex leather seats are awesome. They're heated and cooled. There's a 14-inch display that is huge. It also gives me access to the cameras. I've got front, rear, and side view cameras that give me a lot of benefits from off-roading. There's a beautiful cup holder there, wireless charging, huge center console for storage, and the people in the back seat, man, they are just as comfortable. I'm definitely gonna give this vehicle some points for the interior features. Another feature we wanna mention is the lack of tow hooks on this vehicle. Just like the Tundra, that's a problem. When you're using this vehicle off-road, you need recovery points, and having factory tow hooks is a must. We're gonna take care of that though, so stay tuned for the build out of this vehicle and you'll see what we're talking about. All right, so that concludes our evaluation of this brand new Sequoia. Remember, we were evaluating 9 different categories from price, approach angle and clearance to features. And we ended up giving this vehicle a 3.5 out of 10. Now that's in stock configuration, so keep that in mind. We're gonna be building this vehicle out and then we're gonna reevaluate it and see what that off-road capability jumps to. I know it's gonna be more than 3.5, but let's see how capable we can make this Sequoia.